Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I'm your host, Sean Garman, here with me as always, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
Hello, and well, you might see my daughter from time to time as she's there either drawing or whatever on her tablet. So just letting you know. Either way, we are here and we are going to be talking about some God of War Ragnarok today, as Mark has got about 15 hours into the game. We have some new Nintendo Indie World games to talk about, so you know I got some favorites, and we got plenty of other things, including some sad news to get into in the world of uh, entertainment, and we'll do all that right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
Well, we are y'all ready? Because there's going to be a lot of Ragnarok talk in a second. Before we get to that, though, let's go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way. Of course, if this is your first time or your 100th time listening, we always appreciate you. You can go subscribe, like, follow on the YouTube, which you can go watch live whenever we do the show. And I'm sorry, I know we were supposed to do this on our regular day on Monday, but I'm still having to help the girlfriend move, and this feels like it's going to take ages. Hopefully, we get some good news on Monday about there being a place for her to move, so that there seems like there's an end to this saga that's felt like it's taken forever. So I haven't been able to play anything because my whole week has been that. Literally, this is the first time I'm touching my computer the entire week. So that tells you how lacking I've been in doing anything gaming related, really. But thankfully Mark is picking up the slack in that direction. So usually we either record on Monday nights or Tuesday nights. The video version is up pretty quickly, sometime the next day. Sometimes the audio version, which you can listen to on podcasts, wherever there are podcasts, whether it's Apple, Google, uh, Amazon, anywhere there are podcasts, pretty much use your favorite podcast thing of choice. We're on there. Subscribe Video Games to the Max, or on the whole network. You can get W2 Network, and you get not just what we do here. If you like anime, you got Todd the Keiki. We have an MMA show, MMA for Marks as well. And we also have Mark Radlich and the Radlich Broadcasting crew doing TV shows. They just did the Cabinet of Curiosities review, the Guillermo del Toro joint, and they've of course been keeping up with all they did source material on Black Panther. Of course, they're getting ready for the Wakanda Forever review, which I'm sure will be sometime next week, so you can check that out as well. So with that being said, guys, let's get on with it here. So you said you're about 15 hours in on Ragnarok, Mark. So any thoughts, I guess, from having played the first game going into this game? Does it feel the same, different?
I mean, you played the first game pretty recently, so you'd have more to talk about that, I guess, than I did. I mean, I played the first game when it came out, and that was 4 years ago, I think, right?
Right.
So it feels the same pretty much. I think I do have some problems with the game, though. The first is it seems like weirdly unpolished in like very specific spots.
Okay.
Like it crashed on me once, like to like the PS5 menu, or just blue screened when I was like in a boat. Like I wasn't like doing anything. It was just like I made a turn and it just crashed to like the desktop.
Okay.
And Atreus has gotten stuck in a few times, and I don't remember that ever happening in the first game. Like, uh, like one time he got stuck behind like basically like in a doorway, I think, or like he had himself like wedged in a doorway, and then he couldn't get out. And I had to like shoot something in the environment or have him shoot something, and he couldn't do it. Or he kept like his aim was like always off because he's like stuck in this position. He's trying to shoot, but he can't see it. And I think I eventually fixed that by like going to the boat, and that like magically teleports him to where I am. And there's another great one I took. I took video of this one where he's like running in place. He's like running into a wall essentially. And it's like, that never happened in the first game. Like, I don't remember this stuff. So yeah, I'm like 15. I'm probably like 16 or 17 hours in. I have like just unlocked the lake area, which, you know, in that first game, like that's your hub area pretty much. Not anymore. Like it's like a frozen hellscape. Like there's a bunch of stuff to do in it. I think I just haven't. I just got to it, so I haven't started like messing with it too much. But like, yeah, the whole like hub thing is kind of gone. And in its place, you go back to Sindri and Brock's house, which is like between the realms, they say. And like that's where you can kind of teleport back to. Like that's like your home base, and you can teleport to any realm or any level from there. And there's stuff to do in each level, like side stuff, which is fun. Or it's mostly like, oh, go kill this or go collect this. The game starts you off though, and I think this is to the first game's credit, and it's a detriment here to a certain extent, with the axe and the blades like pretty much unlocked at the start.
Right.
Like you get the blades like an hour in, or it's not even after like the first 20 minutes or like half hour, you unlock the blades. And I think the first game did a much better job of onboarding you with the axe first, because you played that first game like half the damn game you only had the axe. This one you have both, and combat gets a little overwhelming in spots with both unlocked. And I know there's a third. I haven't gotten the third yet. I know the third is like a spear, which I think I've already seen in the game. I'm not quite sure, but it looks. Odin had a spear, and it looked like something I'm going to be able to get at some point. Yeah, you play Atreus in this game. I've played him in like 3 pretty long sequences.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, he's much easier than Kratos, because he can stun the hell out of enemies and just like one shot them. Like, just like R3 and they're dead. And like you pair up with Freya a lot in this game, which I liked her character quite a bit in the first game. That's kind of cool. But right. What do you want to know?
I mean, that was going to be my question. Was there any characters you kind of...
Oh, yeah.
Resolve that?
I like pretty much all the characters in this game. Like, Odin is pretty interesting. Like, there's a problem with him also. Well, Odin and Thor, I guess, to an extent, where, like, you introduced him in, like, the first half hour, and then they disappear for, like, the next 12 hours, or, like, 13 hours. And it's like, who am I fighting? Like, it's like this weird disconnect where, like, they should have been in the game, like, a little more. at least as a start. But they're both like very interesting takes on the character, let's say that. And you go to Asgard, and it's not like the Marvel, the MCU version.
Well, I figured not.
Yeah, but a lot of good acting, like across the board. Although it's weird that like it's almost like Atreus and Kratos' relationship has like taken not a back seat, but like regressed in this game just a tad.
Yeah.
Like in the first game, like they end off on a pretty good footnote of like being equals. And in this one, they're basically being back to how they were in the first game. Only like Atreus is much more like pissed about it, or like, rebellious.
Right. He's a teenager, so it makes sense.
Shouldn't this have been taken care of? Or, I mean...
again, he's entering a different step of his...
Well, it's not really him. So. It's like Kratos is like the immovable object, or...
Yeah.
I will find it funny. I keep talking to Jens about this game, and he absolutely refuses to play it.
Why?
This and the last one. And it's mainly because like Kratos is like such a, he called it like a garbage character from the first 4 games or whatever, and the writing was so bad and combat was so bad.
Okay, but those games are different.
And I was like, don't you understand that like a series can evolve and change and like
yeah,
it's
you
not the
can
same.
like a series from when it existed before.
I mean, I said
and
like
not
a good
like
example
it
is, like,
then. Yeah.
A good example is like Saints Row 3 or Saints Row. Like the first 2 games aren't bad games, but they aren't good. Like they aren't the greatest, compared to Saints Row 3. But he like refuses to budge on the issue at all, and it's like really funny how like intransigent he's being about it. And it's not like the same writer worked on all games. Like Corey Barlog worked on,
was involved, but
he only worked on the second one. Like that was it. The second one, and then 2018, and he didn't. I mean, he directed this one, but didn't like write it or anything. But yeah, it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I will agree. Kratos was like a huge piece of garbage in the first 4 games, but it's a completely different take on the character. It's not like angry rage man murdering his way through everything anymore.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's the whole point, is that he has grown, he is matured, he's been through some more stuff. So
meanwhile, he's enjoying Bayonetta 3, and it's like, yep, same character.
yeah, I mean, he likes those kinds of games, so it's not too surprising. But it is.
I mean, this to me is like, I would say it's like a mash of like the Tomb Raider reboot games and like Devil May Cry.
Okay.
Because you still got like combat at Devil May Cry, like switching between weapons, even like mid combo. But like you're unlocking new abilities or like new traversal things to like make further ways in the game, or you unlock new stuff to do that with. Which is what Tomb Raider did, and like Batman Arkham Asylum and stuff like that.
I've heard that it doesn't really show you anything, or like it's not great about telling you that you need to use your XP to unlock things.
I mean, it tells you at the beginning, but like, yeah, I don't think the skill menu, like the skills are fun at all in this game.
Really?
Like compared to the last game, yeah. And I got like a buttload of experience and even money right now. And it's like, well, you can craft this stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but why would I? Or like, what? I have like one piece of gear I like because it restores some bit of health whenever I stun an enemy, and that's been so far the best thing because I am really rusty at the game. I'm not doing well in combat. Like I've died probably a dozen times. So like that one piece
would
of
you
gear is
say
helpful.
it's harder than the first game, or you just because you haven't played it? No.
I mean, it might be a tad harder, but yeah, it's just because I'm like rusty and I haven't, I'm not playing this game every like 2 months, so you just fatigue sets in. I've only faced I faced like 6 or 7 bosses, but only one is like the type of boss that God of War is like known for, like a big. It wasn't even that big, but a kind of a big screen filling boss, Most of the time, there's kind of like bigger dudes, or like slightly bigger guy, or a more agile guy, or like those alligator guys occasionally. But it's not like the 8-story tall buildings that bosses that the old games were known for. So yeah, but it's a lot of puzzle solving. You got trying to activate 3 switches in a row, and it's like, well, I have these tools, and it says I can do this, so how do I figure this out, or stuff like that.
Have you ran into the Atreus and or Kratos telling you the actual how to like solve the puzzle if you don't solve it fast enough?
No, it's more like the helper or your companion will tell you, like, oh, I can shoot, like you can lower this platform, like we now have a way to get to this switch to unlock the platform or stuff like that, which is helpful because like I actually find the game a little visually overwhelming in spots. So it's helpful for them to say, hey, throw your axe over here.
Also, like, do you feel like there's a lot going on visually?
I mean, it's not like a living world, but I mean, it's like very colorful and it's very detailed. And a lot of the stuff, like some stuff does kind of pop out at you. Like, oh, I can see this circle thing and it's a little frosty. Like, okay, throw your axe at that. But some stuff like really hides in the background. So yeah, it is helpful to have Freya or Atreus go, hey, light this on fire.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, I enjoy it, but I would call the 2018 God of War like 10 out of 10. This is probably like 9 out of 10.
So
why
it's you don't think that
less,
if you get to the end, you won't change your mind, or?
Well, I'm saying like right now it's 9 out of 10. I mean, the story might go up, but I mean like from a gameplay perspective, it's inherently less impressive than the last one because it's not entirely new, or it's not that different, really. And honestly, some of the bugs, even if they're minor, kind of hurt the game a little.
I mean, is it like bad bugs that kept you from?
Well, that one that crashed the game was a little
Right.
annoying. And I mean, some of them are like, well, if I didn't get Atreus unstuck from this position, I would have had to restart because he's just there. I can't get him out of that hole or that like archway he was stuck in. So.
Oh, because you're still doing the whole we're following him.
Yeah.
Part. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. I mean, that's
really good humor, and like I said, great action across the board.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm excited to hear is everybody keeps saying, oh, it's funnier. There's, it seems like there's more camaraderie between the two, or at least they have, barbs at each other or whatever because of Atreus, being older than he was in the first game. So
yeah, and there's a good sequence where he like sees his like past self, and you can really tell that actor has like matured as far as like his voice.
Yeah,
it's the same thing as like when Haley Joel Osment did like Sora in Kingdom Hearts 1 and then 2. It's like, he got way older.
Yeah, they talked about that, I think, in the behind the scenes. Like there was parts where his voice was changed. He actually had to go through that whole the puberty of his voice changing, and then what do they do with that?
Yeah,
just kind of having to.
And then Kingdom Hearts 3 rolled around. It's like 15 years later. It's like, his voice really changed.
Yeah, his voice is way different at this point.
But yeah, I really do like it. But like I said, like just it's a little buggy that I've seen. And I feel like it's just a little less focused, at least right now. But who knows? Maybe it'll kind of. I think it's like one of those games where like you really want to kind of finish the storyline and then kind of go through it again, or go through it like after the fact and get all the collectibles you can. Because a lot of stuff like, oh, these geysers coming out of the wall. Like, I don't have the weapon for that.
Right.
You should mark that on the map so I can go back. Like, you remind me to go back here and do this. Also, I find the map is terrible, and I don't remember the compass being a problem in the last game, but this game it's like really all over the place.
Oh man.
Like, was the compass like really inaccurate the last game?
No, I don't remember having that problem.
Neither did I. But this one, like like you're going in a like direction, but it feels like let's say it's like the thing is going north, like that's where the objective is, and you're going north, but then it'll start swaying like to the west or east, and it's like,
right?
Why are you doing this? Like, I know it's north. Like the map tells me it's north, but it just feels like it's like weirdly inaccurate. And it's like, this is the compass. Like this thing should be the most accurate.
Yeah.
And
I mean that's true. The compass should be more accurate to the map, honestly.
The map reminds me of, and I know people didn't like this game. I actually did, but not this part. The map in Fable 3.
What was wrong with the map in
People
Fable
that
3?
people didn't like it, or I know people didn't like it because it was like a diorama map. Like it wasn't like it didn't look to scale, and it looked like it was
Okay.
like some kid's rendition of a map or something like that. And I was like, yeah, that looks the same like in this game. Like it took me a few hours to even like recognize what Kratos' icon was. And there's no,
Well,
I really wish there was like a waypoint system. There is. Like you can tell the map like, oh, make this objective on the compass. That's where it needs to go. But because the compass is inaccurate, that doesn't really work.
right.
But yeah, like I said, I still really like it. Like if we weren't doing this, I'd be playing it right now.
Yeah. I'm hoping to get into it tomorrow when I have some
See,
time finally.
yeah, I'll be curious like what you think of it because you played God of War a lot fresher than I did, or more recently. So
Right.
your opinion would probably be a little more valid in that respect.
Yeah, but I mean, you still have the experience of having played the first one, so that it doesn't invalidate yours. Just having that feeling of you haven't played it, so maybe some of the things that if you were, I guess, fresher on it, maybe you wouldn't have died so much with the combat, perhaps.
Yeah, I don't
But
think there are. I may be wrong here, but I know there are dragons to fight in this game, but
right,
I don't think there are any of the Valkyries to fight. Which is
yeah, I
probably
mean,
good.
I've heard that the side quests have. There's a lot, the side quests are a big point of this game. Like some of
Oh
them
yeah,
are, like actually worth. Many of them are worth like traversing it. It makes you feel like it's actually like should be part of the game because they're that good.
yeah,
So
and you got
and
a lot of backstory and characters, and stuff like that.
well, that's great to hear. I'm trying not to get too much into it, obviously, because avoid spoilers since the game just came out a few days ago. Obviously,
But if you haven't beaten it by next week, you're a scrub. No, I'm kidding.
right? Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean, it's also I've seen a lot of people say that it took them at least like what 35 hours to do a lot of things and beat the game. So it seems like it's a bigger game than the first one as well.
I've heard 20 hours if you just like mainline the main quest, but
Right.
about 40 if you like want to do everything, or 40 to 50.
Yeah. I mean, but the writing is so good, you should want to do a lot more than just play the
Yeah,
story. So,
right.
but anything since we're already on this subject, anything else you want to talk about? Game
Uh,
playing?
well, not directly game playing, but last week or last weekend, I went to a retro game expo uh, a few towns over, and I think it was supposed to. I mean, it's not like the Seattle one, let's say that, but I
Right.
think it might have been like the largest one in my state, uh, which is kind of depressing if I really think about it, because it was like I don't know, 20 to 25 kind of tables or kiosks set up by different sellers. I knew some of them, like a few people I like really do know because they run like a game store like 15 miles away from me, and they're good people. Uh, but it was a very small kind of ballroom, and it's like the passageways were like too narrow. You could barely get like two people through them. But
Right.
I picked up a few things. I picked up Perfect Dark for the N64. As the dog barks.
Yeah.
Perfect Dark is his her trigger word.
Her trigger wood. Yeah, exactly.
I picked up X-Men for the Super Nintendo. I picked up Legend of Dragoon.
Oh, always a great one to grab there.
Yeah, I got a black label copy, which makes me happy. And it's funny because another seller had the It was like $55 because that game like is getting like weird. Has always kind of been like weirdly valuable.
Right, yeah, it's a cult classic. Yeah.
Yeah. Another table had a copy for 50, but it didn't have the manual, and like the back case was kind of like cracked. So I'm like, yeah, I'll spend the extra $5 and get a good copy.
Yeah, this is the stuff you should be putting on that PS Plus Premium, Sony. Legend of
Yeah.
Dragoon.
They have the game, like it's their game, you know. Like
I'd be happy to go back and get to play that again. You know, not saying the ones for this month, which is like all the Ratchet games. That's pretty good actually, but still, you know,
right.
give you some actual cold classics. You know.
Yeah. I picked up a game called Kagero Deception 2.
Okay.
Do you know what that is? I'm
I have
curious.
no idea. That's why I'm waiting for you to tell me what it is.
Ever heard of Deception 4? That was a PS4 game.
No.
It was like Deception 4, like Nightmare Princess, and they made another one, I think. It was like a weird Blood Ties. That was the other one. So Deception is a long-running franchise by Tecmo. We play a young girl in like a mansion, and you set traps in the ground, the floor, and the air. And people kind of try to invade your house, and you kill them. And that's about it. Like the traps, the later games get a lot more goofy with it. Like, a lot more goofy, let's just say. But like the first two games were pretty like gothic horror inspired, or like they're playing a little straighter to the vest. But I think a strategy game. You're trying to like guide people around to these tiles where you have traps on them, and then you activate it, and then they die.
So, okay. So, but it's a strategy game. Like, oh, so you're trying to kill them while you get them onto these tiles. Okay.
Yeah, like it's a third person. I mean, it's like action. It's like strategy / action because like you're walking around and
Right.
It's not like turn based. Like it's like real time. But
okay.
yeah.
I'm watching this trailer on video here. Oh my god, this is so great.
Yeah, like this is a lot more goofy than Deception 2. But I mean, yeah, this is the whole point. And yeah, you are trying to like chain stuff together.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. Like I'm surprised that they, haven't. I feel like they if this is supposed to be some kind of cult series, I feel like they don't talk much about this.
I mean, they make like one a generation, I think. Like,
yeah,
they don't make a ton of them. Like, they only made 5, I guess.
right.
Or, yeah, but it's kind of cool. Or, yeah, the last one was like PS4. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, like I said, they make like one or two a generation, and then they're like, all right, that's done for now.
Yeah. Well,
but I got the last two things I got were a X-Men arcade game bezel, like the thing they put on the top of the arcade,
the machine.
Yeah, like basically like just like the big title or the big placard.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna mount that to my wall at some point. And I got this for Jens for his like Christmas present, I guess. He's big into the mini console stuff. Like he got the Genesis mini Genesis 2, and he gets all of them actually.
Right.
I got him the Mega. Let me look this up. The Mega Drive Tower Mini, which is an accessory pack for the first mini Genesis, where it's the Sega CD, 32X, Sonic and Knuckles, and Sonic 3 cartridge, but miniaturized.
Oh wow!
But they don't do anything. They're empty, But
okay,
it's just to look at it, or it's just to make like the whole, Sega Genesis Tower thing.
Okay, so it's not an actual like game or anything. It's just
No,
like
it's all empty.
cosmetic.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just for decoration.
I mean, it's still cool to have if you have the console. So
Yep,
that's
and it's a
still
Japanese one, so he'll be happy.
yeah. I'm
Oh, I
sure
also
he.
met at the thing. I met 2 YouTubers I follow online, so that was cool.
All right. I mean,
They
you know,
were. I mean, I brought some stuff with me as well, not to really sell, but just kind of show people, and they
right.
were mighty impressed with my debug PS1 and Xbox.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. I mean, so no, nobody tried to buy it off you or anything.
I heard one guy was trying to find me, but I think it might have been took it back to my car. But I mean, that Xbox is like worth like $2,000, so
Well,
I
there you
doubt he
go.
had
If
that
you ever get in a
on him.
pinch, you know what
Yeah,
to do with that.
there's a few other stuff I'd probably sell in lieu of that first.
Yeah, probably.
But if I'm ever like the house burns down or something, that's the only thing I save. That and the cat.
That-
But I
Get
may
the
do
cat
something with those.
first, obviously. You know.
Yeah, but I may do something with those guys like down the road because they're local or semi-local, so I can
What?
show that thing off in a video or something.
I mean, do they like specialize on something on you? Like they retro YouTubers as well, or are they?
They don't really do. They don't play games. They do like monthly videos where they like show what they've gotten or like
Oh,
pickup
okay, like
videos.
collections. All right.
Yeah, and it's funny because they both said to me like, "Oh, you have a pretty good collection." And I'm like, "I've seen your videos. Like your collection dwarfs mine. Like I do have some good stuff and some rare stuff, but like you have like 2 or 3 times the stuff as I got."
Right. Yeah.
As far as like quantity, who knows about quality? But as far as like I've seen one of the guys like game rooms, and he has like thousands of games, and it's like I don't have that.
Yeah.
I just have a weird Xbox, so
Yeah. If we get to have Randy on again, I'll have to ask him how big his collection actually is. 'Cause he has like almost every system. I
I
think he
have a
has
lot of
like all the
systems.
64 games.
Yeah,
So I know he has a pretty big collection as well.
I have like
Huh.
3 N64 games.
It's, has
I
that also gone up in price? I guess the 64 games, or
It depends on the game. I actually have 4 because I forgot I picked one up. But I mean, some places like mispriced games. Like I got a copy of like Rogue Squadron for like $5 once.
right?
So I'll take that. I only had, like I said, 4 N64 games. I got Rogue Squadron, Perfect Dark, Extreme G2, and Psycho Habu Shogi, a Japanese only shogi game.
All right, that's certainly one.
That I can understand and
Yeah,
play well. I got it because like the dude on the the like label is great, and it actually is like one of the first Japanese launch games, which is kind of cool. But I'll never play it.
fair enough. All right.
On to the news.
Yes. All right. So I guess we should go ahead and have to discuss some sad news here. Some very sad news. I think for many people, when you think of Batman, if you lived in the time where you saw the Batman animated series, or you like the Batman Arkham games, but mainly like the animated series for the most part, you think of Kevin Conroy as Batman. For me, that's when I think of Batman, I think of those cartoon series first.
Yeah,
Before the Nolan Batman series and Christian Bale and all that, he was really the one that carried the torch aside from obviously the original Batman, series, live action series and all that.
right.
But to find out that kind of it felt like out of nowhere, this getting an announcement that at the age of 66 he has passed away. Any thoughts on your end? I mean, he voiced Batman even in Multiverses most recently. So
yeah, I mean, he is. I mean, to most people, he's probably like the definitive Batman. Because a lot of people grew up in the cartoon or he did a bunch of movies and then he did the games too. So I actually really liked it when he popped up in that Batgirl or Batwoman crossover as like old broken Batman. I was like, hell yeah, he finally got his due. But yeah, no, I don't think anyone like knew he had cancer. That's what he passed away from. He just probably kept it secret. Yeah, it's a real shame. He was really talented. By all accounts, he was like one of like the nicest guys ever.
Yeah, I mean, he was still going to cons and everything, even though he was sick, and
There's I'll tell this. I mean, I won't tell it as well as he did, but there's a great story that Henry Rollins talked about on one of his DVDs about like doing voice work for the Batman Beyond cartoon, because he was on it as like a guest character, like recurring guest character, and like he was talking. He showed up at the studio, and he's like, he's talking about Kevin Conroy, but he met this guy who looked like Don Imus. And yeah, if you actually do look at like side by side, they actually do kind of look alike, which is like scary. And then the guy started talking with like the deepest voice ever, and Henry Rollins like, "How the fuck do you do that?" And the guy was just like, "I don't know. I guess I was just born with it." But yeah, like I said, shame. I mean, everyone kind of all the people in that community were pretty sad or broken up about it for a good reason.
Yeah, I love seeing the pictures of like Mark Hamill with Kevin Conroy and Tara Strong as well, like getting to see them with him, and it sucks to
there's a great picture of Kevin Conroy, Tim Daly, who was like the voice of Superman in the cartoon, and Clancy Brown together. He was the voice of Lex Luthor. And it's like, hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, definitely a legend. One that I think all of us are gonna miss is like Batman. I don't know. Obviously, other people have voiced Batman as well, so it's not like we've never heard that, but it's just gonna be so different whenever DC finally has to cast the next.
Well, it's the same as like Mark Hamill and the Joker. Like, there obviously have been other Jokers in the world, but like even his voice work is still synonymous with that character. And I think he was. I don't know if it ever came out, but there was a news story last year about him and I think it was John Glover, and he did the Riddler on that show, like teaming back up to do like an Audible series, like an Audible Batman series. I don't know if it ever came out or like what the status of that was, but maybe it got finished. Who knows? I mean, who knows? It'd be nice if it did, and they just released it, posthumously. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I wonder if there will be like some kind of other. Oh, hey, he did this as well, and we never released it, so there you go. But
I actually don't like the guy that got doing Batman now. I forget his name. Jason O'Mara, who's like he's like an actual actor. Like I know him and stuff.
Right.
But he's done Batman for like, I don't know, 9 or 10 times. And, he's okay, but he's just not the same,
Right. No, definitely. I mean, you can tell the difference. And but also it's like once you grow up with a certain sound for Batman, it's like it's very hard to hear somebody else do it, I can't make a correlation right now, but I'm sure that there are others in that way where it's like, okay, that's something. Or like, they had to have the new Mickey Mouse, right? I think for Kingdom Hearts 3 actually.
Right.
And you could tell the difference. And it was like, he sounds similar, but it's obviously not the same.
Yeah, or like Kermit the Frog. Like
right.
Since Henson died, there have been at least 2 or 3 different Kermits, and they're not bad, but you just know the original.
Exactly.
Or I guess he'll be into it for perpetuity because of the AI stuff, but
mm-hmm.
Darth Vader,
Right. Yeah, that's gonna be a weird time when James Earl Jones is not doing either Mufasa or Darth Vader. So having to go from that to, I guess, not so more happy news. The Nintendo had their latest Nintendo Indie World Showcase, which I had several games that I've either been looking forward to, that I'm glad to see that we got more information about, or games I didn't know about that now I'm kind of interested in as well.
So before you launch into it, I watched that thing also. That thing was more French than Ubisoft press conference. Like, holy hell.
There was non-French stuff as well, but I get what you mean. Yeah. I think for sure, obviously, probably for both of us, they ended it with Sports Story. Getting to know more about that game, and that's one of the games I've been like waiting to know if it's actually going to come out this year or not. And it is. So to add more to my playing something in December, now we got Sports Story at some point,
right,
coming out. To add to, I still don't know on Callisto Protocol, but for sure Crisis Core. I'm blanking on something else that was coming out in December that I was gonna perhaps pick up. So several of these games are coming out in December, really. So I'm just like, no, don't give me more stuff to play in December when we're trying to wrap up everything and get to Game of the Year. At that
don't
point,
worry, that stuff is not going to matter.
Yeah, Crisis Core might.
No, because it's a remake.
Well, but we've counted Royal and stuff like that before, so
okay, and sure, but it's not gonna be like a top 5 game,
No, it won't be. But if it'll be in that 20, I'll be surprised if it's not in our 25 or something.
Yeah.
I was happy that Inscription is finally coming to Switch. I held off on buying it on PS5 because I figured at some point they were gonna have it come out on Switch, and it is December 1st. Another game that I'm really, really excited about, WrestleQuest.
Yep, I saw that and thought of you.
Yeah, that can't wait. Like, who's never wanted a turn-based freaking old school wrestling game? I mean, I'm surprised.
You should play Alive.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Like, I thought of Live as well, but it's like cool that they got all these old school wrestling at the actual wrestlers, not like we're trying to kind of make them look like them, and then it's an actual like RPG or whatever, which is cool. That's probably one of the more farther away things, but still cool that we're getting that. And Blanc, since they announced it, it's definitely one I'm gonna get Anaya to play with me because she liked It Takes Two. So anything where she actually has to be one of the reasons, the reason why we move along. She likes those games. Of course, the art style is tremendous as well. You reviewed Rogue Legacy 2.
You guys can go play that prison game together.
Oh, no.
Another heartwarming mother or father-daughter experience.
You liked Rogue Legacy 2.
Yeah, I played that.
So.
I played it on PC. It's pretty good. There were at least 2 games in that thing, though, that I watched, and it almost made me sick.
Which was one of them Pepper Grinder?
Yes. Actually, it was.
I thought of you with the Mr. Driller at first because all they kept showing was her drilling through stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it looks kind of neat, but it's like, what happens if you get stuck, or like not stuck in the environment. I mean, like stuck like in the level, or it looked like very. I wouldn't say rhythm focused, but you had to have a good flow.
Yeah,
And if
exactly.
that gets interrupted, it looks like you're screwed.
Right. She does get other things besides the drill, so.
Yeah, but you're like basically like swimming through like the levels, like the graboid from Tremors.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay, that's cool, but if you get stopped, then it's like what happens when Sonic gets stopped in a Sonic the Hedgehog game. It's like,
right,
it's gonna take a few seconds to get back up to speed, you know?
Or you're gonna just die and have to go through again or whatever.
I think the other one though was, and this was actually the worst one, was that Have a Nice Death game.
Oh, that's another game I've actually like.
Like it looked
I'm not
like
a roguelike person, but
it looked like it was like Hollow Knight on acid, and it's like, wow, this does not appeal to me at all. Like, and it looked like super colorful and like spots, but it looked like very distracting.
Yeah, because it's very, it's death, so it's gray and.
Yeah, and then you have like these like red and like pink blotches, or like, just like random colors everywhere. Like a bad LSD trip, and it's like, what is going on here?
This also was supposed to come out at the end of the year, and then they moved it to, I think it's March or something. So
right, yeah, it just looks like almost like too busy, you know?
Yeah, I can
Like
kind of see what you're saying there.
It looks like Hollow Knight mixed with Hell Yeah. Remember that old game?
Whew,
Like Wrath of the Bunny or whatever the fuck it was called.
Right. Wow, that's
I'd
a
rather
deep
just play
cut.
one of those. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Wrath of the. The Dordogne game or whatever, and I had it on, and she was there watching it. She's like pointed out the really cool like watercolor look of it as well. So that looks cool. The Little to the Left game, that was cool that they just shadow dropped that. I've been kind of interested in that, having the puzzle, just household puzzle thing. And Venba is one that I've been excited to play. It's like the narrative cooking game based in India. So yeah, some good things to look out for between December and next year, some indie titles. So yeah, Switch always nails it with these, and always good when they do these indie world things. So you can let us know your favorites there. Hit Mark up at Humanity Plague. I'm at David Tim Sean, or let us know what you liked from the Nintendo Indie World thing. I don't know if there was like any total like bangers or whatever that I'm going, oh yeah, everybody's got to play that, but there was a lot of good, consistent, good stuff there for sure.
What about that Botany Manor game, man? Come on. It's gonna rival Mario Kart 8.
No. That was the one that I was like, all right, that's not for me at all. I'm good. Somebody will like it, I'm sure. So moving on from that, I guess another one of my favorite games, Control. We kind of knew this was happening, right? They had said that they kind of shadow announced Control 2, but they never officially announced it. and now they have officially announced that Control 2 is being made, partner with 505 Games, and it's going to come out on PC, PS5, and Series X, S, and yeah, I mean, we both like Control a lot, so
Yep.
you know.
Yeah, it should be cool. The one thing I find funny is, Remedy's doing this, and they're also doing Alan Wake 2.
Alan Wake 2, yeah.
And it's like,
And
what
they're
about
doing another game, aren't they? Like some other game that's not with
Vanguard?
Yeah.
But no one cares about that. But I was just thinking, what about Quantum Break 2, man? Come on.
Doesn't Microsoft own that?
They might. I mean, they publish it, but
yeah, they would. I think.
I mean, technically, Microsoft published Alan Wake, so, but not anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think they let them have that just because they wanted to make it, and Microsoft's like, hey, well, we don't have to publish it, so. Well, I think they wanted to actually, I'm sure, but Remedy was like, yeah, we want to make money, or make more money and put it on other systems. So,
Yeah.
it's still crazy to me that they couldn't get Alan Wake 1 to run on the Switch. So,
I read some tech, or watched some tech video about that, about like how it's such a mess, and like they said it'll eventually get fixed, not completely, but better.
yeah,
But they also
playable.
said like they'd rather have that version than like a good looking like Steam streaming version.
Yeah, the cloud version.
Yeah, it's like I agree there. Like,
yeah, it's still amazing to me that like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 couldn't be put on the Switch natively. They had to put them all on the cloud, and it was like people have been waiting for these games to hit Switch forever, and then you make them all cloud based, which makes it almost impossible for people to play them. So that's not great at all.
Yeah.
Especially
at that point, just start emulating it on a computer,
Yeah, or if you have a PS4 or Xbox.
See, I think that's the problem is they're keep trying to port over the PS4 versions to the Switch, and it's like, don't do that. Port the PS2 version or the Xbox 360 version. Do a little work on it if you can to make it look a little better. But
I mean, Alice was able to get Persona 5 Royal on there.
Yeah, but that's not a technically demanding game.
No, it's not. I'm just, I mean, they were able to they had to get a cloud version of Requiem, even though I think it's not out technically. It's supposed to come out at some point.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these cloud versions of these games, they get delayed to much later. So
when everyone forgets about them and no one cares.
Yeah, exactly. Has that Dying Light 2 cloud version even come out at all? Like, if it did, I have no idea because I feel like nobody knows.
I think GameStop is selling Dying Light 2 and like the collector's edition for the same price, like on Black Friday.
Oh, really? Well, of course, I would have that DLC or whatever too as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bloody Ties.
Yeah, it wasn't like the best version of Dying Light 2, but it was like the $90 version for like $30.
Yeah, the sadness of the Switch sometimes. Interesting that Miyamoto had that quote about he wasn't really sure if the Switch 2 or whatever the next Nintendo thing would be. He did not say it would be a Switch 2. May not be backwards compatible to the Switch, which is alarming, I think. Unless it's going to be totally different, yeah.
He made the. I think he said also like, oh, we want Nintendo's all about new ideas, not rehashing old ones.
Yeah,
and it's like, then why is Mario Kart 8 like the best seller on this fucking thing?
Yeah, it's like you can't really say that when the game that's sold the most out of any of the games is a game from the Wii U.
that didn't sell.
Yeah. So don't think that you can really go, oh yeah, we're all about bringing in new ideas. A lot of the things that you're basing on is things that are already out, and you're just making more content for it. So,
Or even like Smash Brothers, like Ultimate, like
yeah,
technically it's a new game, sure, but from a not really.
right. No, it's not really is more appropriate there for sure. Um, yeah, so we'll have to see. I guess it's leading people to think once again, talk about the Switch 2 or whatever the next Nintendo thing has to be soonish or whatever. And it's like, you guys really got to stop trying to make this happen. Like, I think we will be hearing deeper rumors than just Miyamoto talking about whether it's going to be backwards compatible or not, because that's kind of what happened with the Switch. Honestly, we heard rumors about the NX, like what I think a year or two before.
Yeah.
It actually came out. So,
No,
but
man,
even
I know what it's going to be. It's going to be the Virtual Boy too. It's going to be red and green, but no blue.
God. Well, VR is all the rage now. So
Yeah, exactly.
why not?
I said that Labo VR thing was just prepping people for.
Exactly.
Or it's just going to be a whole Labo console.
Oh God, I hope not. Yeah, I mean, I just cannot see them just totally abandon the Switch, especially with like how the Steam Deck is just. It feels like everybody that gets one, that becomes their new way to play PC games. And then when you have something that your competitors don't have, yeah, you can do remote play, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
You wouldn't capitalize on that. Like, I'm all for, please go back to the way you have the Switch now, where everything is one console. We don't have to be, oh, well, some things are going to be on the Switch and then some things are going to be on whatever this other console is. I'm not saying they have to make a Switch forever or whatever, but it's just weird that you wouldn't use that portability, in a long time.
Yeah, but I don't think the proposed idea of like also like them making a dedicated home console and then also splitting it off into a dedicated portable console is ever going to work again either.
No, I think not. I think the days of having your dedicated portable console are gone when you have tablets and phones and those kind.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when they're paying what they just announced, that whole thing with DNA where they're paying like 80% of the cost to have DNA basically give them a mobile presence even more than they already have. So and do things with Switch Online more and all that stuff. I mean, it would make like no sense to just then have a Nintendo portable only thing.
Right.
So yeah. But I mean, also, I guess with the success of the PS5 and series, it does show that consoles are not going anywhere. So if they wanted to go back to that, where they did have more of a home console only thing, they could definitely do that if they wanted to.
I think at least in the Japanese market that's still not popular.
Yeah, I mean the PS5 did so well, and it
Right.
has been selling well. And now that they've gotten the stock back up, I mean there was a week where it outsold the Switch. So it's not like it's totally gone out of the picture. But you're right in that they do focus more on portable stuff than console.
Yeah.
That that being said, speaking of things that are done, EA apparently is not going to make any Project Cars games at all. They acquired Codemasters, and they also acquired Slightly Mad Studios, and they're not going to make what is basically like Slightly Mad Studios' like main game franchise
Yep.
at all.
I mean, they're basically this news is like they're shutting down Slightly Mad Studios.
Yeah, like this is the thing we kind of talked about, right?
Yeah.
Where we said like, look, they're gonna buy Codemasters, and then watch most of these series are gonna go out the window. And they're gonna just be kind of around to do stuff with Need for Speed, which that's another game I think that's coming out in December.
No, it's coming out at the end of November.
At the end of November. Okay.
It has zero buzz.
Yeah.
And the few videos I've seen of it look terrible.
Yep. Not surprising.
Here's the thing: Project Cars 1 and 2. I think 2 is like a little less good, but 1 is like a really great game.
Right.
2 is good, or like 2 is like almost as good, let's say, and 3 was like a huge disaster.
Yeah, I remember you not liking 3 very much.
I didn't play 3. I don't think we got it for review actually, but like everyone hated it. And EA didn't make 3. Like that was before they took over.
Right, exactly.
But EA doesn't have like this type of like simulation racing game, because Need for Speed isn't it, because that's arcade focused, or that's doing nitrous and tagging and shit like that, and it's not WRC because they have that franchise now, or they have that license. That's Rally Sport, and they're also killing.
I thought the WRC is with someone else.
No,
they have
the WRC. I mean, I've been reviewing those fucking WRC games for the past few years now. They're fine, but that was like their last. Like the last one was like their last game because EA got the WRC license.
Did they? Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. They got the WRC license. Okay.
EA is also killing off the Dirt franchise, which actually does piss me off.
Yeah, but they're going to keep Dirt Rally and then also have WRC. It's like, okay.
Right. Again, like they're silly. WRC is like simulation focused, and Dirt is like the arcade racer or arcade rally game. Like it can be very specific, and it has been in the past, but it doesn't need to be. But EA has like 4 or 5 racing franchises, and none of them hit that spot of simulation. And they also said about like, we want all of our games to be open world or social games where you can create what you want, and it's like, hasn't this what's been killing Need for Speed for the past like 10 years? Like, really?
Yeah. I mean, but does it surprise you really that?
No. And it's funny because like the former CEO of Slightly Mad Studios is insane in his own way. He's much madder than Slightly, but he left the studio like last October, and he was like, "Oh, EA is gonna." He was like, "Oh, it's in the right hands," and then smash cut to now, and then he's like lambasting EA, and it's like, well, what do you think was going to happen?
Yeah, no, it's like I said, we could see the writing on the wall for a lot of these series. They weren't going to last. Yeah, there was no way EA was going to keep up with all that.
I mean, they can't make a Burnout game. That's what people want.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly, Grid's going to stay going, even though I think they just put. Was it this month they put Grid Legends on PS Plus?
No, I mean maybe it's like a higher tier one, but
yeah,
it's a shame.
I mean, that's the thing is like we see that Forza has at least their 2 different games. So like you could technically have like a series of racing games, and like you said, had them all kind of go to a different audience, and then go from there. And instead of trying to use all those games to see if you can find one that really hits, no, we're just going to close a lot of them. So
Yeah, and the problem is they don't. This Need for Speed game is going to come out and it's going to bomb. I hate to say it, and hey, people always say like be optimistic, but come on, they haven't made a good Need for Speed game in like 10 years.
no, I mean, you're
like,
not wrong. It's really hard to be optimistic about. It's like the Sonic Frontiers thing. Like, how could you really be optimistic about Sonic Frontiers when the majority of the 3D Sonic games have not been good?
Right. And that's when it kind of worked out because Sonic Frontiers isn't amazing, but it's gotten
it's good,
better than usual Sonic review scores.
Yeah.
But EA should be catering to like different segments. But the problem is, they want like a yearly cycle of games, and
exactly.
Forza's not even on that anymore.
Yeah, they alternate, and it, like you said, it's not even yearly. It's whenever they come out.
Yeah. Because technically last year should have been Forza Motorsport 8, but it got delayed due to COVID or just because. So that's
right.
next year.
And they already had Forza Horizon 5, so
right.
Didn't need them both coming out, but I think for the most part, EA this is kind of what they do. They don't know what to do with multiple games in one set of I don't know if they could possibly have 2 soccer games or 2 NFL games or 2, it has to be the one. And then that's the one that we milk until we can't milk it anymore. Need for Speed's not it. So, or they're going to try all they can to make Need for Speed it, even though it's not.
Yeah, even though they keep bashing it against the wall and driving the value of that franchise further and further down.
Right. You're not wrong on that. I think we have really said that several times. Every time it comes up, it's like, is anybody excited for this?
I heard the Heat. I think that was the last Need for Speed game. And it wasn't completely awful. But that's not a great back of box review code. Mark Morrison said it's not completely awful. He gave it a shrug shoulders.
Yeah, like that Kotaku one about the Star Ocean Divine Force. This game isn't totally terrible.
Yeah,
but we should expect better. Well, damn, what an endorsement for that game. God.
Right. Yeah, Heat got basically Metacritic 72, 73%.
Yeah.
And so that's not awful, but Need for Speed is supposed to be the premier AAA racing franchise, and it hasn't been like that since Most Wanted, and that was 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah, it's not good when you get further and further away from the one that you remember as, oh, that's the Need for Speed. I think some people are growing up with what's Need for Speed?
Right. That's I mean, I guess Gran Turismo still has some prestige to it, but they put out that franchise so infrequently that it's you're putting on another one of these. I'm what is this?
Yeah. No, I mean, to be fair, I think they do that where they put it out once a generation.
Yeah.
And they've done that.
I think that's a detriment to Gran Turismo. They should be pumping them out not every year, but every 3 years might be nice.
Yeah, I think it's just that series has hit such a kind of a lull, and Forza has really kind of eaten its lunch for a long time. That
yep,
that's another thing too that doesn't help it. It's no longer the premier racing game. When somebody thinks of racing games, it's it used to be Gran Turismo, and now it's not them.
It hasn't been Gran Turismo since Gran Turismo 3.
Oof. Yeah, think about that. It's a long time.
Actually, to be fair, Gran Turismo 4 actually was still good, but even by that point, it's kind of slowing down.
No, you're not wrong there. Speaking of things that EA is no longer a part of, FIFA has apparently announced their Web3 blockchain titles. I'm not going through all this stuff. It has to do with the World Cup that
Come on, man,
starts
it's
in
4
like a week
games.
and a half. No, this is exactly what EA didn't want. They wanted nothing to do with this stuff. FIFA wanted to basically whore out their name on everything possible, which I don't blame them. They want money. That's what FIFA's always been known for, wanting money. You can go watch that Netflix documentary and it'll prove me right all day long. Yeah, it is what it is. As somebody who loves soccer, I can't wait for the World Cup to start in about a week and a half. Awesome. I can't stand it. Don't care about this.
I mean, here's the funny thing: is they're releasing 4 games that are all Web 3.0 bullshit. None of them are actual
blockchain.
games.
Yeah. Yeah, like somehow there will be these crazy people that play this game, play these games for some reason and whatever. I hope not. FIFA 2023 also has their World Cup thing. Go play that instead. Please. But yeah. Whatever, folks. If this is the kind of stuff FIFA's going to be doing, I'm good with EA just not having the name so they don't have to be involved in that stuff, quite honestly. It's been proven that stuff is not working very well and will continue to probably not do so.
Just ask Square.
Yep. As Square. Also going on here in the news, supposedly there's rumors going around, and VGC is also kind of corroborating this too. NCSoft, excuse me, who are the folks behind NCSoft? Okay. They're behind the Guild Wars MMO and Lineage. They might possibly be making a Horizon. Yes, that Horizon. Zero Dawn, Forbidden West, same franchise, MMO game. So is this what they were talking about when they said a Horizon multiplayer?
I hope not.
I mean,
I just don't.
Yeah.
It's like, what are the factions? I'm gonna be a level 12 robot dinosaur.
Are you gonna be training these robot dinosaurs and going into battle with other robot dinosaurs, or are you gonna be in just random person in this world and y'all just go hunt the robot dinosaurs? I mean,
it'll be the second one. It'll be clan focused,
Yeah.
Which is completely boring to me. I just don't see it. Why that world is so. I don't want to say empty, but so kind of dumb from the human perspective that I don't want to. I don't want to be part of the Black Hand clan facing off against the red haired clan or whatever the fuck they're gonna do.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that. I definitely think that somebody will find this, and probably you'll get some players out of it for sure. It doesn't surprise me with Sony saying that they want to make live service games. They want to make games that have staying power multiplayer wise. That this really could be the job listing that people are thinking it is, especially because what's the launch game for the VR? Horizon. So why wouldn't you also use this as a way to get a PlayStation MMO out there? Aside from that point, I love I enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn. I haven't played Forbidden West yet. Don't know if I will. At least this year. And I don't know that the multiplayer thing is going to do it for me. But if somebody out there has a lot of time to be playing a Horizon MMO and they're really going to be able to dedicate their time to like I don't know that I like those single player games are so well done. Like, do you really want them splitting the time to make lore and story for these MMOs? You know,
Why would they have an NCSoft do it?
I mean, I get yeah.
I mean, I think the thing is like, yes, there have been multiplayer expansions or parts of single player games that have
Right.
worked well, like Assassin's Creed or Ghost of Tsushima.
Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima,
Yeah, or
Mass Effect.
Uncharted, but none of those had staying power. You know, I played them as a curiosity, or like the Assassin's Creed one wasn't like terrible, but
People like
I played them for
the
like
Ghost of Tsushima one a lot.
I only played like twice.
Yeah.
And that was like once with Jens, and he bitched about it a lot, I think, because he didn't like the. It felt weird in that game, like weirder, let's say. But you know, I played like once or twice, and then I'm like, all right, what's next? I mean, at least they're adding shit to like Halo. You know, they added all that
right, but
crap
that
to
was
that
multiplayer already.
right?
Like that was made that way. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it has the potential. Like you can see it. We just talked about it. What it could be. You know, clan base. Every so often you have different, robot
Yeah,
animal
like
bosses.
you'll face
And
like a level 40 robot bear raid or something like that.
yeah, like you could see the foundation of it, but it's just like, would this really catch on? And does this hinder? Do you just have to make this a separate thing completely from the main games? Has nothing to do with it. It's just this. Hey, if you want to go have more Horizon and play multiplayer, then here you go.
I mean, I would see this as like free to play, and that would get people to play the next Horizon.
That too. Yeah, it could be free to play, huh? That's true. I mean, Guild Wars is free to play, so
yeah, and that's worked out really well for them actually. So
yep, it's incredible how long that MMO has been around, and it still has its players. So
I still have. I don't know if I could actually log into it right now or how I would. I bought the like limited edition version of Guild Wars 1,
wow.
and I think I was playing like a mage character, and I forget everything about the game, but that's about it. I think it had like some rainbow colored dye that was like very valuable because it was only in that edition of the game.
Well, there you go. We'll see if we get more on this at some point. I'm sure we will, whether confirming or denying, but it doesn't seem that out of the realm of possibility so far.
Right.
Speaking of things that are being reported and then all of a sudden maybe not happening the way it's being reported, there was a report from WrestleZone that the AEW Fight for a Future video game might actually come to Game Pass day one. The AEW Games Twitter account said that it doesn't anticipate the game being on either one of the gaming subscription services, and it's still supposed to come out November 19th, which is a week from now. Or more news. I'm sorry, more news about the games coming out.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it would be cool if it came to Game Pass. I don't know that I would play it either way. I don't really watch AEW or WWE for that matter, quite honestly. So it doesn't matter to me. I think it would definitely help AEW Fight for the Future to be on one of the subscription services because it gets you publicity. It would take you out of the whole, oh, well, you're just a niche thing that, okay, if you watch AEW, you'll buy the game and that's it. It would definitely put you into, oh, I know that guy. Oh, I know that guy. Oh, it's on Game Pass. Oh, I'll play it. Let's see what it's like.
Well, it makes
Yeah.
if it's not. I don't think it'll be on Game Pass at first. Let's say, but I think if it was on there, it would help boost the game quite a bit.
Yeah.
As the whole idea of it being more of a platform for
Plus, we
games,
know
not
wrestling games people love the multiplayer,
right.
so that would
Well,
make
I
it
mean,
easier for people to play as well.
like they even said like they don't anticipate this game being like a yearly franchise. Like they'll still
Well, I mean, it
DLC.
shouldn't be really. No.
Well, neither should WWE, but they
Well, I
pump
mean, look
those.
who has. Let's be honest. It's also WWE, but 2K loves having the yearly franchises stuff. Come on. I mean,
Yeah, but I think I've heard it's WWE mandating that, not 2K.
yeah. I mean, but if 2K could actually come up with like
A,
comparable other
a good
kinds of
one.
WWE games,
Like I said,
then
Crush Hour 2. That's mine.
yeah,
Someone's
just
gonna break that glass one of these days.
I hope so.
But I think it would be good in the long term if it was, but especially since I don't think that game is going to be full price anyway.
Yeah, and probably behoove them not to be.
Yeah,
Try to take advantage of the fact that your budget game, budget price, get on people to buy it possibly that are looking for another kind of wrestling game. Especially with the like more kind of older wrestling game type focus with the
but it's going to be like
gameplay.
the old EA Madden 2K ESPN thing where AEW is more successful than the WWE game, so WWE just copyrights wrestling. They can't wrestle anymore.
Yeah, they buy up the exclusive rights to
to
any
wrestling.
wrestling game. You cannot.
You cannot German suplex in your game. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. You're sports entertainment, so
Yeah.
you know how is that possible? Still, yeah, I'm glad that the game exists. Would it be cool
I
to get
mean,
in the Game Pass? Yeah.
between the two, I'd probably much rather play the AEW game though than WWE.
Yeah, I agree.
Because only the AEW game is going to have Matt Hardy in it, so you gotta go with that one.
I mean, I guess technically they could have like an older version of Matt Hardy in the WWE game as well, like the Legends Matt Hardy or something.
Well, the AEW game is going to have Cody Rhodes in it, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, it is. I mean, WWE already went through that where they had like a bunch of wrestlers that were like not with the company anymore. They were supposed to be on DLC or whatever. So
Yeah.
you know, they go through that quite a bit actually. We'll see with Triple H in charge if.
Well, I mean, the problem with the wrestling roster is eventually you have to like lock it down, and they can't change it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I think like AEW's plan of it being more of a platform than a yearly sequel is good.
But that's the thing. Like, I think 2K said that they wanted to do where they did more of the like sports update thing with the
Yeah,
WWE games, and then
but
WWE said, "Oh no, we got to have those packs and all
right.
that crap to sell." So
Yep.
they said no, which it's kind of dumb. Like, you need to get with the times of this is how sports games work now. If you're gonna have a platform.
Yeah, that's
Or
what
if you're
WWE.
gonna have a yearly sports game, like they kind of got to be a platform.
Yeah.
Monetize it a different way. Like if anybody's the king of monetizing sports games between EA and 2K, they both know how to do it. So, well, apparently, the Prince of Persia remake is not canceled.
Yet.
It's still in development at Ubisoft Montreal. It has no new release date, so it's joining the likes of Beyond Good and Evil 2 and other things that it's kind of like there. We know it exists, but we have no idea when it's going to come out. And, they have canceled existing pre-orders, which that's not great either.
That's not the best sign. I mean, I
Yeah,
had that Bayonetta 3 pre-order for like 4 years.
yeah, that's not a great sign at all, quite honestly. But hey, at least they're still acknowledging that it exists. So, look, as somebody's a big fan of that first Prince of Persia game, would I love for it to come out? Sure, but I'm just not holding my breath with Ubisoft at this point. Things that's not Assassin's Creed related, they are kind of dropping the ball.
Right. Well, that Mario game was pretty good, but that's about it.
Well, yeah, but that's also like Nintendo kind of involved.
I'm sure Nintendo was on their ass to make it, or they
Yeah,
finished it. So
that's also part of the reason why, too. Well, speaking of things I am excited about that, well, we don't know if it's going to come out either. Netflix has announced that they're working on a live action Gears of War movie, and they're also doing an adult animated series, and they could do more with Gears of War if that is all successful. This is, of course, part of the 16th anniversary of Gears of War. As a person that loves Gears of War, yes, please.
as a person who marginally likes Gears of War, I say it's not going to happen.
Why? They're doing the Horizon show right now. Like
Here's the thing. I think the cartoon will happen regardless of whatever else is going to happen. I question if they're going to have the same cast. Probably not. And then people have been trying to work on a Gears of War movie for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
Since Gears of War came out.
I mean, you're not wrong about that. But
I mean, yeah, you posted this news in the chat, and I'm like, yeah, that Legend of Zelda Netflix show is great, huh?
I mean, come on. Like, that was, like, not ever a thing. That was a rumor that Nintendo shot down really fast. I mean...
What about the Final Fantasy XIV show? They announced that. Didn't come, didn't come out. They announced that Division movie. That was supposed to be like 2 years ago. Nothing. It's just a they announce it all the time.
I mean, they did make the Cyberpunk anime. So
see, I think animation is different. That's much easier to make. I mean, it's not a cakewalk, but I mean, it's cheaper than doing some $150 million, live action movie.
I'm all for Batista being in it, though. If he's, whether he's Marcus or someone else, I'm all for that.
No, man, you're not thinking big enough. I posted this online when this news broke. This is the best casting ever. Okay, Marcus Phoenix is Roman Reigns.
Oh Lord.
Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and then Sami Zayn.
Might as well just get John Cena in there too.
He'll be General Rom.
Yeah, like I said, Gears of War is one of my favorite franchises, so I want to see this happen. I'm holding my breath right now until we actually see something, but I'm also worried because it's not like Netflix has a wonderful track record of everything they put out is gold. I mean, look at the Resident Evil show, how bad that was. So it seems like video games are becoming like the next like in vogue thing to make stuff out of.
They've done run out of comic shit, so
or other people all own all the comic shit, so they have to go try to find something else. And while I don't blame them for trying to do all this anime live action and video game live action stuff, do it right. Like,
that's the problem.
So many of those anime live action things suck ass. So
I will not I will not have you speak well of Dragon Ball Evolution.
Oh God, but that wasn't Netflix. I mean, like I'm talking about all
Like
those.
Death Note,
Yeah, like Death Note and
Cowboy Bebop.
the Cowboy Bebop show, which some people actually like. Whatever.
I like parts of it. Let's say that.
I'm holding my breath on the One Piece one.
No, that'd be terrible.
Like, I just don't know how they're going to do that because most of that crap is you can
Weird.
only really do with animation. Like,
or they're making that live action Avatar thing.
Yeah, that doesn't fill me with joy.
And it's like,
either.
How can you top M. Night Shyamalan's brilliance? Come on, guys.
Stop it. Yeah. But
I'm
throw another
really
one on the can of video game stuff.
I'm really surprised I haven't tried Sailor Moon. Like a legitimate Sailor Moon,
Yeah. I am too, but don't know if that's due to rights or.
I mean, this might sound sexist, and I don't mean it to sound that way. I imagine they wouldn't do Sailor Moon because it's primarily focused towards girls.
But why wouldn't you? You could get girls to watch it.
Yeah, but they probably don't see that as like a big enough demographic to
Well, no, you're right. I mean, most of the stuff that still hits the things that get big in anime is still shonen stuff. I mean,
Sailor Moon is Sailor Moon is obviously
Sailor Moon is huge, but I'm talking about look at all the
like
recent
the
anime
top
hits.
10. Yeah, it's all like Demon Slayer or
Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan. They brought back Bleach. I mean, like all the stuff that is big always winds up being shonen. So unfortunately, you will have those like slice of life ones that kind of get hype or whatever, but you just rarely see stuff that's mainly catered towards women or girls get made. Like you don't see the shoujo catered animes that much anymore. So I don't think that they would be doing that for. That's also because like isekai has kind of taken over everything as well, like the being in another world kind of thing. So, make that of what you will on the anime front. But hey, if you want to hear more about anime, go listen to that Taught the Keiki. So cheap plug there. Anyway, moving on from Gears of War stuff. Let's stay on the, I guess, Microsoft Activision front here. There is a possible rumored launch of Diablo 4 for April 2023. Pre-orders are going to open in December. It's possibly going to get announced during the Game Awards with a beta possibly happening in February. That would be cool if we can get that. And
that's
also,
a pretty good
Phil
timetable.
Spencer wants to bring the RTS Warcraft games to console. That does not surprise me.
Why?
They're making Age of Empires on. Like,
yeah, but Age of Empires isn't like a hero-focused RTS. It's all empire building, which is not Warcraft or Starcraft.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't. If they can make it work, I don't have a problem with them doing it. I'm all for.
It has been done, but
yeah,
it has not been done particularly well.
Yeah, it's not perfect. They got Gears of War 1 to work.
Wasn't that just XCOM?
Yeah, but they got it to work.
I mean, Halo Wars is a better example, I would say.
Yeah,
but there wasn't a huge audience for that.
Well, huge enough audience to make a second one. I think it would bring people into it if they're gonna put it on console, and you get to use that backwards compatibility in to possibly turn that into making a new Starcraft or Warcraft game or whatever.
The one thing they could not do, and I would say this right now, is do crossplay.
Oh no, definitely no. They're loading that from what's the game that has that problem right now? Call of Duty.
Yeah.
That you can't turn that off on Xbox. So
well,
you have to play against PC players.
A console RTS player going up against like
some
South Korean who's been playing it for 12 years. Like, forget it.
Yeah, forget that. Yeah, unless they have like the matchmaking or whatever. But I just don't think that's gonna work well.
Yeah.
I'm always down for the more things you can bring from PC and put it on console. If you can make it work, go for it. There's just people that like me that either my PC is not good enough or
but
I'm just not.
Your PC is good enough.
Well, for that, but I'm just saying that it's like I'm just one of those people that like I already use my computer a lot. I use the computer at work. I hardly a lot of times don't want to unless we got to do this. I don't really want to be on my computer. So I want to be in front of my TV gaming or have the thing that I'm playing the game on separately that's not my computer. So and I think there are a lot of people like that don't. That's why the Steam Deck is what it is. They don't want to be using their computer. So or they want a portable computer that's actually something that's like a Switch or whatever. So I think if you can get this to work on a console that more people want to play it on, they open the avenue up for more players, and go for it.
Yeah.
That's just me. I mean, I'm sure a lot of PC Master Race folks don't want to see that happen, and I would agree with you if you're going to bastardize it or it's not going to be great, then yeah.
Hey man, StarCraft 64 worked pretty well. Wait, no, it didn't. Go on.
Speaking of things that caused controversy, Final Fantasy 16. Apparently, it is PlayStation 5 exclusive for 6 months. Then it will go to PC, and then
that be it?
No, I think it's like a year exclusive for console.
Yeah,
and then in 2024 might show up on at some point on Xbox, if at all. Also, they caused controversy because Yoshi P used the Kingdom Come Deliverance line about why they didn't have people of color in their game. That did not sit well with a lot of people. That also didn't sit well with me. I hate that line of, we wanted to make it region specific. And
my question to him would be, so is the next game going to be full of colored people and no white people?
I just wish you'd just be honest and say, look, you know what, we didn't think about it.
Like, he should flip it and go, so do you want us to put like a Mr. Popo in this game instead? Because would not surprise me.
It's not. Look, I think, and to be fair, I think a lot of Japanese developers are trying to be more understanding of that. I think there are folks that they want to make the game they want to make. They don't think about.
Yeah, it's much more of a cultural thing over there.
Yeah,
or not a cultural thing because it's so low of the population. So
right. I don't think that we need to defend. Go in and defend Japan about, oh well, you should have more people. Like, you should definitely have more POC representation in your games. That goes without saying. The gaming industry, by and large, is trying to improve that. I think Japanese developers it's like with a lot of things, they're just going to take a while to kind of adapt to that. But I mean, they do have a black lead in Forspoken, so it's not like it's all games. Obviously,
Right.
having that in Final Fantasy matters. They do have that in Final Fantasy VII with Barrett. So they had that with Final Fantasy 12. I don't remember her name right now.
And 13.
And 13. Yeah, well, Saz was. I would say that. God, what's her name? I can't think of her name. The character in Final Fantasy 12 felt more important than Zaz does in Final Fantasy 13.
I only remember the bunny lady from Final Fantasy 12.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I felt like she had a bigger role than, say, Zaz does in the 13 series, but you know, that's the thing.
Fran
is just
was the bunny
Fran,
lady.
exactly. Fran. Yep. You're correct.
Gotta love those original names.
Like I can't think of is it Baltier? The guy?
Yeah, or Balthier, yeah.
But yeah, Baltier, yeah. So, and Vaughn, obviously, and Penelo. Oh, God, Vaughn. That's another story for another day about Vaughn. But either way, like, definitely there should be. I think if you're one of those folks that lives in the past of, oh God, white master race right now, like, no, it's wrong. I mean, it's great. Like, I have bought games because as a Latino, having that Latino representation matters. You know, it does. It makes you feel like, wow, we have arrived. You know, yes, we are represented. Yes, we can have those moments of video games, just like, you know, we've all grown up with. So just like, you know, we've had more female leads in video games, you're still gonna have a lot of people that complain about that. I agree with you, Mark, and the whole. I wish people would be less wishy-washy. I wish you would just pick one and go for it, and stop trying to do the. If you're gonna let people pick, then have it be more of a let people pick and not so much like, well, this is the one where you were supposed to be, but we couldn't just go
Assassin's
for it.
Creed nonsense, yeah.
Yeah, but this thing of, oh, we gotta defend Square. Like, no, man. People should call it out.
Right.
They shouldn't be getting like death threats or whatever. That's ridiculous. But perhaps if you call it out, it makes them think about it for the next game. And that's what matters at the end of the day. Whenever they make a Final Fantasy 17, we already know Barrett is in Final Fantasy 7, whatever you make. But for the next game, you might have to think about that. And that's important, you know?
Too bad Parasite Eve is in their next game.
Yeah. Makes it really sad, Mark. I agree with you. So Mark gave me a great segue about Square announcing their first digital collectible art project for Web3 fans called Symbiogenesis, which is obviously a kind of a ode to Parasite Eve, but it has nothing to do with it. Also, sort of has an ode to Xenogears, but that's different. And yeah, it's really supposed to be more about like it's a set of self-contained world with a wide cast of characters that all have a symbiosis with each other and can be collected as digital art. Square did say they were going to do this, you know, so.
Yeah, at a time where almost no one cares about NFTs, they announced this.
Yeah, I mean, like, crypto is just crashing. NFTs feels like the more it went, and people are more and more realizing how much of a scam it is, and we're gonna go in that direction because we got to find another way to make money. And it's like, yeah, no bueno.
At a time when Square could be making games, they choose to make.
I mean, they are making a lot of games. So let's be fair. Like, how many of these B games have come out? Like recently, like Harvestella just came out like last week. I mean, that's a Square game. Crisis Core is coming out next month. I mean,
yeah, Harvestella came out and like no one cared.
No, I think there was a lot of people. There's people that are playing with it. It's like that whole like, look, it's the holidays. They're charging full price for these games too, which is another thing. Like, if Valkyrie Elysium, Star Ocean, and Harvestella all cost like $40, I think you would have had a lot more people buy them. But when you're sitting there telling me they cost $60 and God of War Ragnarok is right around the corner, what game am I gonna buy? Pokemon's right around the corner. What game am I gonna buy? So I think Square Enix needs to start thinking about, hey, we're gonna make these budget titles. You may give them a budget price.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just me, but I get it. They want to recoup their money. If they sell it for 60 and the game didn't cost that much to make money on all these games, but damn, bro.
I mean, it's also telling that like none of the big sites have Harvestella reviews.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Harvestella is a game that has any notoriety based on because of the Nintendo Direct at all. And then, I like the demo, but it's definitely not a game I'm buying at $60. I'll buy it when it goes on a sale. It also is kind of what I've heard from some people is it's like the RPG and farming stuff is kind of okay. It's like in between two minds. Like, it doesn't know, it's not a good farming sim. It's a decent RPG, but it has a lot of stuff that's not great. So that's also not good for it either. A lot of people are liking Star Ocean, and I think a lot of people like the Valkyrie Elysium as well. But again, like for the $60, like, oops, I don't know. It's not. Yeah, in the time that we're in.
I'm curious, have you seen the Square Enix logo meme?
The one where everything has the Octopath Traveler name font?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I'll just post the let me see if I can find a link for it. But it's a meme of like Square Enix logos from before to now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just posted a link on the private chat. And it's hysterical because the games are like the same now as well.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong about that.
Yeah, like it's like
I mean, Bravely Default, Octopath Traveler, and Triangle Strategy are all made by the same people. So
yeah, but it's like like
there are 3 different games though. But yeah,
it's just bizarre. I mean, look at the left, like Kingdom Hearts or Valkyrie Profile or Parasite Eve, and it's like, yep. And now I got every game looking like Octopath Traveler, unless it's Final Fantasy VII-R.
Yeah, I mean, Harvestella is another one that uses the same font. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I know. I get what you mean. I mean, it's just, and we have had a lot of the Saga games and the Mana games. It's just, yeah, they're all the older stuff. I mean, it sucks that these series are not getting more hype, and it feels like not getting like more love from Square Enix, but I feel like the price is a huge deal for people. They just, it's barely hyped. Oh, there's a Star Ocean game. Oh, it's $60 each. I don't know about that. I think that stops people right there. Like, So sadly, I wish we could be talking more about those games right now, but we're not. I think finally, just because we've been talking about it consistently, the Disco Elysium devs are going to court. So there's a legal battle between the Disco Elysium developers that we kind of said it looks like it was coming, and the owners of the studio. They basically want to let people know what happened as far as getting
mean,
right to Robert. Yeah.
there are messy accusations on both sides.
Yeah. So here's what both are alleging, I guess, that as soon as they became majority shareholders, we were quickly excluded from daily operations. Our employment was terminated. Our access to the company's information was shut off. I mean, that kind of happens when you get terminated. Our firing came weeks after we started asking for documents and financial data, which is still being kept from us. We have now learned that Tut, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Some Polish on a name, or
The current owners have obtained control over Zaum Studio by fraud. We believe the money used by the company to buy the majority stake was taken illegally from Zaum Studio itself. Wow. Money belonged to the studio and all the shareholders that was used for the benefit of one. Money that should have gone towards making the sequel. We believe that these actions, which in our view and the view of our lawyers amount to criminal wrongdoing punishable by up to 3 years imprisonment, were perpetuated by Zaum CEO Mr. Compass and Havel with support from Kender, the other minority shareholder. Yeesh. Yeah, let me tell you, if any of that's true, that is some dark stuff right there.
Yep. And they
damn.
they countered and said like, "Oh, these developers were abusive or something like that." I mean, yeah, both sides, and this one that no one's going to come out looking clean. I imagine.
Yeah.
But we'll see what eventually happens.
Yeah, this is.
I don't think if it ever comes out though, a Disco Elysium 2 is going to do well or be as good as the first one.
I want to know what the barbs are going to be on the other side, because this seemed like this is all from the developers. They got fired side. Like, what are they alleging that they needed to fire them for?
Right.
Don't you need people to make the game? Like, I mean, we talked about it. Like, they kind of felt like, oh, we can make this, and it's like, no, you can't. Especially not a game this involved.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you kind of need those people that were behind the game in the first place to make it. And it's like, wow, you really thought you could make that? Wow. Really, folks. Okay. It sucks to hear that, because like I said, we should be talking about a series that is super successful, like Disco Elysium, a game that was loved, kind of came out of nowhere, won some Game of the Year award stuff, even got a director's cut on Switch, everything. Getting a sequel, that should be huge news. That should be people getting really hyped for that. And now it's like, oh, we're having to deal with talk of a court battle and everything else, like stuff you don't want to hear about at all. So, yeah,
I'm sure it'll get settled just like the Call of Duty respawn. You know, that brouhaha.
yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I hope it gets settled on the developer side for one, because that just sounds absolutely terrible what they're dealing with right now. But all right, unless you have anything else you want to bring up here,
I'll mention it just because you keep forgetting about it. How are you liking that Marvel Snap game?
Oh, Marvel Snap. Thank you for mentioning it. So,
It's been 2 weeks
I
now.
really do. I haven't played it since that time I mentioned it because I haven't really had time to do anything. But Marvel Snap is pretty fun, actually. You could tell that there are times where you're playing a bot, and then there's times where you're playing a person.
Yeah.
But either way, it's still fun. I love the fact that it's like, it's not that hard of a concept to understand. You're trying to take your deck of 12 cards, and basically it's a best 2 out of 3. However many points you have in 2 out of the 3 lanes, you win. I don't know. I've never had a thing where all 3 are tied or whatever. I'm not sure what happens there, but it's cool. Yeah, there is some grind. There is a grindy nature to it. Like, you do have like your dailies and your things like that, but you do get to unlock like different looking cards. If you get to a certain level, you get points that you can use to unlock other cards, obviously. So, and they have like little mini like quests that you can unlock as well, like winning so many matches, playing so many of certain cards, all that stuff. So, there's a whole meta behind this as well. A lot of people making certain decks and everything else. So, yeah, I will probably hope to play more of it. But like I said, I've really been enjoying it. The art is really cool on these cards as well. It's free. Play it on your phone, play it on PC, whatever. If you're a Marvel fan, and if you like Hearthstone or any of those like digital card games, Magic even, I think you could really kind of, even if you're not a big fan of Marvel, I think it's easy enough to understand that I think you can get the hang of it and play.
Right. Well, the fact that it's like over in 6 minutes helps.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. The matches are fast.
They're like Magic. They can last an hour. If you're really playing tactically or whatever, or like same with Hearthstone.
Yeah. I mean, in the small decks as well, it's not like this, like, oh my God, I've got to have the perfect deck. And where you got to a point where, okay, well, I have to wait for this to happen so I can have an advantage. It's like, it always feels like as long as you don't overdo it on cards of a certain level, because it does go in phases, right? Like Hearthstone, where the first turn you can only put up like level 0 or level 1 cards and so on and so forth. So it does build up to being able to use those high level cards. So as long as you don't have too many low level or too many high level, you keep it balanced, you're always in it to the end too. So that's another positive, I think. As long as you kind of start getting the gist of how this works and try to figure out ways to outsmart your opponent. I mean, that's the fun stuff too, is like when I think I'm totally out of it and then I go, oh, wait a minute, that based on also all 3 of the different the 3 pods, I don't know what you call them, areas that you have, they're all different and they have like a random
zones.
They have a random like thing that they give you as well. Like say, oh, if you add this kind of card here, it will add +2 to the cards on the other side. Or if you only have 1 card there and nobody gets added the next turn, you +3 that character or whatever. So like you can use that to your advantage as well. And like there's times where like I thought I was out of it, and then I go, oh wow, this card just makes it to where I just won. And it's fun like that. So I definitely think people should try it out. And it feels like it's a game right now that is in the zeitgeist. So for those people that like being in the gaming, hey, everybody's playing this kind of thing, this is one of the games to be playing right now, for sure. Another one, whether you're hating on it or not, a Vampire Survivors is also on Game Pass now, so you can finally go see what all the buzz is about on that game too.
One last game I'll mention I played and then I quickly uninstalled it was Overwatch 2.
Really?
I played their Halloween event, and I've liked that event in the past. Junkenstein. That's like the old version. They did like
But you were playing it for a while, and then you just
off and
stopped.
on. But I did the holiday event this year, and I did both events. I lost the first one, and I won the second one, and I got like one spray.
Oh
And I'm
man,
just like, yeah, the progression in this is just not worth it anymore.
that sucks to hear.
I don't think I like, as a concept, I don't think I like season passes that much.
Right? No, definitely. I'm not a big fan of that either.
I think it worked fairly well I think it works fairly well in Call of Duty, at least for the most part. But Halo seemed kind of busted. This was like Overwatch 2 is just completely underwhelming. It's just not rewarding, you know.
Right.
So yeah, forget it. I installed it.
Like I said, it sucks to hear. It's a game that I know you were kind of looking forward to in a way. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I imagine their Christmas event will be much the same thing, you know.
yeah,
And people are pissed about the Halloween event this year. Also, like, it's a lot of people like, what? I don't get anything, or you do it, and it's like, well, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool to do it once, but only once.
yeah, not great.
Yeah.
All right. That being said, talking about we talked about the games we're playing, and talking about games that are coming soon here. Yeah, next week there's some good stuff, some good indies. If you're looking for some reason you're looking for something to play and you're not playing God of War, or Tactics Over Reborn for that matter, that's out as well. It Takes Two comes to Switch. If you haven't played that yet and you want it on your Switch, it will be there. Somerville is coming to Game Pass and PC. I've been kind of looking forward to that, so I will be checking it out. Pentiment also comes next week, the next day actually. So two really good indie games to be checking out. That's also coming to PC, and Call of Duty Warzone 2.0. If you didn't get enough Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, you can go get the free Warzone 2.0 out there on the 16th. So I'm expecting Marc to give me a full report on
I didn't even
Warzone
play the
2.
first one. I never
Yeah,
played that thing.
that's it.
I think I played it like once, and I'm like, I no.
No, yeah. All right, so that's your. No, I'm joking. That's your thing to do for next week. Goat Simulator 3. While we're at it, that's coming next week too. So, and then of course Pokemon on Friday coming out. I'm very excited. Pokemon Violet and Scarlet's come out, and getting to play that open world, see how much of an open world it really is. And if you're on the PC, I guess you can go play Miles Morales if you haven't played that yet, as well. And that Dark Pictures, The Devil in Me, which I feel like will just totally get usurped by everything Pokemon coming out that same day. But if you don't have a Switch, I guess you can play that instead. So that being said, I don't know what day we're gonna do the show next week. I'm trying to see what's gonna be happening with the moving and stuff. We'll have a probably better idea by Tuesday, I think, of what's gonna happen. Whether we're gonna get the one that's going to be ready on December 1st, or if that one's not going to happen, we got to wait longer. But either way, good stuff coming up soon. We will for sure be back at some point next week. Hopefully, everybody that we once again got saved by the hurricane completely missing us here in the Miami area. But once again, the folks over there in Tampa and everybody, basically almost similar to the same area that got hit by Ian, got this tropical storm. Hopefully everybody's okay. You can hit follow, like, subscribe on YouTube, on Twitch, on wherever it is that you watch or listen to us on, any of the podcasts. Review us there. That will help a lot. Leave a comment on the YouTube video. That helps us as well. For until next week, for Mark and I. We'll see y'all later.
Later.
Peace.